All right, let's get this over with. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Harriet. I really do appreciate it. And if this is your first time finding me and you want more movie reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, entertainment news, or just me responding to anything I think is cool, please right now click on that subscribe button and also the bell so you can be notified when I make uploads and you will be on your way. Harriet is the latest white supremacist propaganda trash that is filling up our theaters right now, and it is very, very upsetting. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a little bit more than I normally do in the past. Of course, I'm going to give my review of the film, and I'm going to be as fair as possible because I believe that is important. But I'm also going to be going into a little bit of spoilers. So if you have not seen the film, I will be talking about brief spoilers. I wouldn't suggest you go see the film because I don't support it in any way, shape, or form. But I am going to be talking about spoilers just a little bit. We are talking about Harriet Tubman, and pretty much everyone knows who that true American hero is. I'm also going to be talking about Cynthia Erivo and why I do not support her, and also what I think of her as an actress. And I'm also going to delve into why you should not support this film, everything going on behind the scenes with Focus Features, NBC Universal, Comcast, Byron Allen, and the 1866 Civil Rights Act. Now, as far as my expectations are concerned, I was not looking forward to this film in the slightest because of two reasons. One, because Harriet Tubman is a true Black American hero. She's very important to me. She should be very important to you. And another thing is Miss Cynthia Erivo is not a Black American. She is not ADOS. She is not a foundational Black American. And when you are casting true Black American heroes, I feel, in my humble opinion, that you need to cast somebody that can do the best job in the role. And if you cannot necessarily relate to that subject matter, to that material, you cannot pull in the necessary performance that has the true substance, that true gravitas to serve that role justice. Now, first, let's talk about Miss Cynthia Erivo and her acting, because guys, to be honest with you, I'm not going to crap on her acting. I think the sister is a phenomenal actress. Now, Steve McQueen, the brother that put out 12 Years a Slave a number of years ago, he directed a film a couple of years ago called Widows. And my expectations for that film was through the roof. I thought it had Oscar-worthy contention all over it, but I walked out extremely disappointed. I think I gave that like a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. However, one of the best things in that movie was Miss Cynthia Erivo and her portrayal in that film. I thought she was the best thing in it. The sister can act, so I'm not going to take anything away from her. Another film that I saw was Bad Times at the El Royale that had Chris Hemsworth in it, Jeff Bridges, and a number of other talented actors and actresses as well. I thought that was a great film, and she was the best part about it, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion. Like I said, the sister can act and the sister can sing, so I really don't want to see any comments of someone just saying that I'm hating on Cynthia Erivo, the sister can act, why are you ignoring that? No, you're hearing me right now in the flesh saying that Cynthia Erivo can act, she's a great actress, and the sister can sing, and I am not trying to take anything away from her. Now, about the film Harriet, if it wasn't obvious to you already by the words I said previously, the title of this video and the thumbnail, I thought this whole production was just absolute garbage. I mean, it really boggles my mind how they could muck this up so much. It just really doesn't make sense, especially when you are looking at the director behind this film, Miss Casey Lemons. I don't understand what happened, my sister, because if you look at your filmography, you can direct. Every film that you have touched, and I've never seen any of your TV things before, but every film that I've seen, and I've seen at least 3 of your films, you knocked it out of the park. We go all the way back to 1997 with Eve's Bayou starring Samuel L. Jackson. I have literally in my entire life not met any person, especially any black person, that did not love or appreciate that film. It is phenomenal. I mean, there's just nothing wrong with it. I mean, I don't want to necessarily say it's a perfect film, but at the very least, it's a great film, and I don't understand why this this film, Harriet, did not have the same energy as that film. Another film that you was a part of, 2013, with Forrest Whitaker and Jacob Latimer, The Black Nativity. Phenomenal film. I loved it. I remember exactly where I saw that film. I believe it was on a Thursday in Dallas at Angelica Theater off Mockingbird and 635. When the film was over, I was running out of the theater to my car for two reasons. One, because I was excited about how great the film was, and another reason because it was cold or whatever, and I was just trying to get to my car. But it was a phenomenal film, and I praise you for that film. It was great, and it's a sleeper. If you haven't seen that film, you need to go see it. And a film that I thought that even was better than that was 2007, the film Talk to Me, that had to do with Don Cheadle and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Another phenomenal film that had, it was just a great film. And so, and also the sister directed one episode of Luke Cage that debuted a number of years ago on Netflix. So if you look at this sister's filmography, Miss Casey Lemon, she can direct, she has talent, she knows what she is doing behind the camera. But like I said, it just boggles my mind because that talent, that directing skill was nowhere found in this whole production of Harriet. And it's just weird to me. It just doesn't make sense. And just says that, this Harriet film had a ton of studio involvement in it. And that really is depressing. Now, one of the things why I say that, and this film just fails on all levels, is one, it just does not have the true brutality and tell the true tale of what American chattel slavery is. And that's what this film is about. It's rated PG-13, and I'm not saying that any film has to be rated R, for you to really understand, for you to get a true account of what's going on. But Miss Cynthia Erivo was recently doing an interview with Hot 97, and she said that this film was for families. They wanted to pull back on the brutality of slavery because they wanted 12 and 13-year-old people, little boys and girls, to go see it with their family. So I have a problem with that in the first place. We've all heard the saying, go hard or go home. And they should have went home with this. It shouldn't have been made because you're lying. Don't whitewash or water down history because you're afraid or you're embarrassed about, the brutality that this American government or any other corrupt white supremacist structure did around the world to black people, brown people, people of color, whatever. You are lying, and that is wrong. If you are truly sorry and you are truly upset and ashamed of what you did, make it right. Give me my goddamn reparations or whatever, give an official apology. But no, you are lying to these children, to these babies, not wanting to give a true account of the brutality, the rape, torture, and kill of 400 years of oppression that people like me, ADOS, foundational black Americans, have went through. And I just think that is wrong, and just another reason why I don't support this film, and everyone a part of it should be ashamed of themselves. Now, when I was trying to do my research for this film, I was really trying to find the budget of this film, but I just couldn't find it, and if let's just say the budget for this film was $10 million, and I don't think it was that much. That $10 million is split among everybody in the ending credits, not evenly. But I can really honestly say that no one in this film got paid, because no one, or just across the board, the entire film, the acting in this film just was atrocious. It was not convincing, compelling, fulfilling in any way, shape, or the form. Now, Miss Cynthia Erivo did have the best performance in this film, but that's not a good thing. The bar is still set low. She was not able to relate to the ridiculous horror that black Americans have gone through in this country. She did not have that cultural connection. Black Americans have a distinct, unique experience that no one else can relate to in the entire world. I'm not trying to say that she has never experienced racism and anything like that. I would be stupid to say something like that. But we have a cultural connection to our ancestors that no one will be able to mimic, and that came through in her lack of performance in this film, Harriet. And guys, while I could not find the budget, I still know that this was a Hollywood multi-million-dollar production. And across the board, as far as the acting, it felt like a bunch of freshmen in college acting for the first time playing dress up. And I say that with no exaggeration. The sense of 400 years of rape, torture, kill, rape, torture, kill, rape, brutality, torture, kill was nowhere in this film. as far as slaves being on a plantation in this movie, felt like the equivalent of yard work. Someone planting flowers or cutting the grass. I mean, my goodness gracious, I struggled more when I was 10 years old trying to get the lawnmower started than they did in this movie. Are you serious? And when I said slaves, the audacity of this film and whoever wrote it, and I did not look it up. Yes, they did use the word slaves in this movie. But one of the biggest middle fingers used to anybody that's been oppressed, they actually had a line of dialogue in the movie that said, they didn't use slaves. They said these people, when they were referring to slaves, said, these people are my respected workers. Are you serious? I mean, I would have even felt better if they said indentured servants, but they said respected workers. That's how they reference slaves in this movie. That's ridiculous. And it's a slap in the face. It's a spit in the face. And I'm supposed to support this? Slaves are respected workers. Get the fuck out of here, man. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for being a part of something. And I ain't even gotten to the review yet. And not only that, them trying to make a family film and lie to the youth to try to make it seem that slavery wasn't so bad. It was hundreds of years ago and all white people aren't bad and all that crap right there. I mean, dude, when these slaves in real life were running away from their slave masters, when they was trying to escape for freedom and just to live their life, they were running through all types of torturous terrain, going uphill and downhill, through mud, through rivers, breaking their backs, their bones, sweating, thorns and rocks all in their feet, just beat down, just hundreds and hundreds of miles. But that was not depicted in this film at all. Harriet, when she just decides to escape, they don't give a good reason of why. I mean, you just have to know that. I mean, when you are making a film, especially a true film, you cannot make it with the assumption that everybody knows the true story. No, don't tell me, show me. There's a saying, show, don't tell. They didn't show anything, or they didn't even tell anything. At least they could have told us. But no, she gets on the bridge, she jumps into a river, gets out, does her hair like this, runs up a hill and around some corners, and oh, she's free. She's traveled 100 miles. I'm like, what? Are you serious? You just depicted that in 25 seconds of screen time? I honestly feel like she put on some house shoes, went out the door around the corner to the corner store, just down the street, to go get some bread at the gas station. This is how I felt. I mean, when they said that she just traveled 100 miles, or how it was depicted in this film, I was like, man, it looked like she just ran up and down the basketball court. I mean, like, my goodness gracious, it just wasn't there. Where's the brutality? Where is it? I am not convinced in any way. And then when she's doing it, when she realized that she's free and she's looking at the sunset, all that you see in the trailers, the acting was trash. I'm saying to myself, she looks like Radio, played by Cuba Gooding Jr. I started laughing. It was just like, oh my God, like, what are you doing, Cynthia? What happened to your acting that was in the Bad Times at LYL or Widows? Because it's not here. I don't understand where it's at. And just another big sin of this movie, besides the brutality, them trying to make it seem like a family film and calling slaves respected workers, was just the entire tone of the film itself. They tried to hide the brutality with uptone beats and melodies of some superhero thing like this, The Avengers or something. Now, yes, Harriet Tubman was a true superhero, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, is, you know, if you feel that way. But if you see the film, what they was doing with the music, no, I mean, it was a feel good tone that they were just trying to convey, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, they're treating it like just, hey, you know, somebody was just going to work and hasn't received their paycheck in a few weeks, and you know, they're trying to do something about it. No, that is wrong, man, and it really does piss me off. I mean, a year and a half ago, when we saw Black Panther in theaters, February, when Michael B. Jordan was coming through with his portrayal of Killmonger, I was able to relate. I felt every emotion that this dude was putting on screen. Back in the 90s, the Spike Lee joint with Malcolm X, Denzel Washington, I felt everything. A few years later, Panther, that came out in 1995, written and directed by Mario Van Peebles, Huey P. Newton, played by Marcus Chong. When he charged up those cops on the streets with their guns, I set up. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, my brother, I feel you. and even 12 Years a Slave. You know, I mean, even though that was done by a bunch of Brits, I'm not going to take away anything from Chiwetel Ejiofor and Lupita Nyong'o. They did a great job. I mean, Michael Fassbender as the slave master, like, I hated him in that movie. I mean, like, they tried to make the slave people in this movie just seem like somebody annoying at work or something like that. No, they are true evil demons that just need to be put down. And that was just nowhere in this film right here. I felt all the emotions in those other films. Even if you look at Django Unchained, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Jamie Foxx, even though that was fiction, of course, I still felt everything in that movie, and I felt nothing in Harriet at all. This was a G version of what really happened. And like I said before, everybody a part of it should be ashamed of themselves. Or even another movie that came out a few years ago that was directed by Catherine Bigelow, Detroit, that had Anthony Mackie in it. My goodness gracious, that film affected me. I never want to see that film again because it was just so brutal, but I do appreciate seeing it. It did wake me up a little bit. And you have people out there saying that they just don't like slave movies and they are tired of it and things like that. I feel different. I'm not going to get mad at you for saying that. I mean, you know, victims of the Holocaust don't feel that way. They want their stories to be told, but at the same time, they were made whole. So it's just kind of different. But I want my stories to be told too, but not like this shit right here where they try to water down everything, calling us respected workers and, you know, no, don't be lying to these children, these babies. Tell people how it really is so they can know. Give a true account of history so that people can be educated and that we won't repeat the mistakes of the past or even get remotely close to it. And then more bullshit in this film is they have white saviors all about. They try to make you feel sorry for the white supremacists. I mean, they seriously try to make you sympathize. Well, I mean, what are we going to do? Slaves, I mean, how are we going to live? How are we going to eat? But they don't give a damn about my life. I mean, they had a slave master at the very beginning of this movie. And, you know, very slight spoilers right here. Cynthia Erivo is married. You know, another thing, her husband in real life, I forgot his name, but he's not a ADOS. He's not a foundational Black American. He's not a Black American. He's a Brit as well. I mean, why can't we play ourselves? Why can't we play ourselves? You know, he was free. Cynthia Erivo wasn't. So they had a legal document saying that, okay, that Harriet should have been free by the time she was 45 years old, but at the time she was 46. And that was like, you know, I hired a lawyer. White supremacist slave master demon took the paper, ripped it up, and just said, I don't care about this legal document, even though it's right. And he admitted it. He was like, look, you my slave. You're not going nowhere. You're going to be a slave. Your children going to be slaves. Their children going to be slaves, and their children going to be slaves. And there's nothing that you can do about it. So look, you're evil. There's just no question about it. The only way we're going to end this relationship is me killing you. And I have no shame in that. But did any white supremacist die in this film? Not one. Not one white supremacist slave master terrorist demon from hell died in this movie. Yet they are the worst creatures that ever walked the face of this earth. And this film wanted you to feel sorry for them because the slaves wanted to go free and they weren't able to, you know, do what they had to do with their farm and make a living for themselves. Man, come on. I don't want to hear that crap. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, and the brutality was gone. The only brutality in this film was the villain of who they made as a black bounty hunter. Are you serious? And to my understanding, it was a made-up character called Bigger Long. Now, I'm not finna sit here and say, I'm not going to come to any conclusions and say that there was no such figure that ever existed in real life that wasn't a black bounty hunter or anything like that. But if it's completely fake and they made it up, like I said, they should be ashamed of themselves. But that was the only brutality in this film of him killing Janelle Monáe's character. I mean, look, the only other slight brutality was at the beginning. One of the slave masters had some type of love, physical attraction, you know, for Cynthia Erivo's character, Harriet Tubman, Harriet, or Misty. At the very beginning of the film, she was crying, and he tried to come up to her and wipe a tear off of her face. Of course, she wasn't having it, and she wiped his hand away, and he got mad and slapped her. And I think that was it. That was maybe two white supremacists slapped two slaves in this movie. But they got this character over here, Bigger Long, this black bounty hunter. And I like the dude. He can act. His name is Omar J. Dorsey. He was also in Django Unchained as well. You know, I think I like the guy. But my brother, why did you accept this role, dude? I mean, you should have just put your foot, well, he did put his foot down. The slight spoilers coming. He killed Janae Mo's character. He killed Janae Mo. I feel like I'm mispronouncing her name. Janelle Monáe. He killed her, and it pissed me the fuck off, man. They were looking for Harriet. You know, they found out what she was doing and sneaking back and forth, you know, from Maryland up into the north, you know, getting her people, trying to save them, escapes up north. You know, we all know that. And there was a scene to where he was beating her. He stood over there and with a closed fist took his hand and beat the shit out of her, just knocked her the fuck out with at least 3 or 4 punches to the face. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, I couldn't take it. And even if you want to keep that brutality in the film, why is the only brutality of a black bounty hunter beating up another black person? Where are the white supremacists at? Why are they not dying, or why are they not doing the brutality? I mean, I'm not into torture porn or anything like that, but I just want this thing to be realistic. And then what takes the cake, where Miss Janelle Monáe's character, Marie Buchanan, don't have a bit of strength left in her. You know, her face is all bloody. She looks up at the dude and she's shaming him like, hey, you know, you coward, you're a traitor. This dude, Bigger Long, picks up his foot and does the biggest A-Town stomp, Captain Falcon stomp to her head, kicks the woman's head, dang near kicks the woman's head off. And it broke my heart and kills her right there. I mean, when her head hit the ground, it was like a bowling ball hitting the concrete, and we see blood coming out of Janelle Monáe's eyes. And early on, and when I saw the film, there was this dude all the way to my right that was talking in the beginning, and it was kind of annoying me. But when that part right there happened, he just bust out yelling, oh, that's some bullshit. He needs to die right there. And I wasn't mad at him for yelling, because I felt the same way, and it was ridiculous. I mean, this sister took 4 punches to the face, and then I've never seen anyone stomp somebody out. And I mean, probably the only other time I've seen someone stomped out so hard was that film American History X with Edward Norton. I think it was Edward Norton in that film. If I'm incorrect, please let me know down in the comment section below. But that right there, man, that takes the cake. That was just the last straw right there. They try to make you sympathize with the white supremacists, but make the black person feel bad. Just like, oh, the white supremacists just was not that bad. And I mean, like I said, like the 4th or 5th time, they should have been ashamed of themselves. And then we have the white savior. Like I said, when they figure out what's going on and we're getting up to the end of the film, Harriet doesn't get to take revenge or produce justice to her slave captors. It's the white dude that's compared to her as a pig earlier. He's the one that kills the black bounty hunter. Harriet, you know, she has her pistol. She's running up a hill. The black bounty hunter, Bigger Long, shoots at Harriet. He barely misses. Harriet shoots back and shoots off his hat. His hat flies off. He's like, oh, bitch, you gonna die. And as soon as he's finna come kill him, the white slave master that's in love with Harriet comes and shoots him in the back. But Harriet can't save that justice. She has to be saved by a white man. The white man says, oh, you know, I told you I want her alive. And what does Harriet do? She outsmarts the guy, gets him off his horse, steals his rifle, and she has a chance right there to blow his head off. This dude does not respect you. He doesn't. You have the opportunity to blow this dude away. A true evil murderer. And she doesn't. She don't shoot him in the chest. She don't shoot him in the face. She don't even get a few licks in. She just looks at him in the face and says, God don't want people to own other people. And then throws the gun down, and then she runs off. And then the camera zooms in on the white supremacist's face, him looking all sad like he don't know what's going on. Like, I guess you're right. God doesn't want people to own people. I guess I learned my lesson, but it's not my fault. I was raised this way. I was just not properly educated. I was taught to feel this way. That's what they want you to feel when you're walking away from this film. And that's why at the very beginning, I call this a white supremacist propaganda trash. I mean, like, my goodness gracious, there are elements of Christianity all throughout this film. And I'm not finna sit here and just, you know, knock on Christianity or anything like that. And I'm not going to tell you about, I'll say that I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power, but I'm not going to go into any specifics right now, because even if you try to say consciously that they won't create division, subconsciously it will. But black people are a people, period. If you are a Christian, I'm not going to say anything wrong about the religion, but you still have to acknowledge of who taught you Christianity, or who taught us as a group of Christianity, and why did they teach it to us? They did not teach it to us to to be fruitful and multiply and to have a nice, fulfilling life and a life in heaven after we pass away, whether you believe in that or not. They taught it to us so that we can always be forgiving and docile no matter how we're treated. That's why they taught it to us, and that's what they're trying to put into this movie. That's what Cynthia Erivo said in the Hot 97 interview when she's saying that she wants families in 12 and 13-year-olds to go see this. No matter how somebody treats you, if they're white, forgive them no matter what, because those are your true guys. And no matter what, you have to look up to them. That is the bullshit that this film is trying to convey, and while I don't support it, and it pisses me off. And they also had Frederick Douglass in here, and, you know, his portrayal just didn't do a good job either. I mean, there was just, like I said, sprinkles of, I mean, you know, and when this film started, I was like, I wasn't looking forward to it, but I was telling myself, I was like, B, do not hate watch this film. If there's something good about it, you know, be honest. I like the title card of the movie. I like the gospel songs and or Negro spirituals that were sung in this film, and the color palette was nice. I'm not going to, you know, just shit on the cinematography. That was cool too. You know, and there was maybe a line of dialogue where, you know, Cynthia Erivo did deliver, you know, that I'll give her credit for. But come on, man. This was a mayonnaise bland peanut butter jelly molded piece of crap that was left on the counter for 3 days, and they try to serve it to you on I mean, this is shit with sprinkles. This movie is basically shit with sprinkles. Not one white supremacist died, and even at the end of the movie, when they're trying to tell the part of how she led a battalion in the Civil War, they had a bunch of black slaves running for freedom, trying to escape in boats with a bunch of white supremacists chasing them. Cynthia Erivo have a posse up there with her guns, and you've seen it in the trailer. You know, they don't show that scene right there. I mean, they could have fired and just showed some white supremacists die, but no, they don't want to show that. They're trying to make it seem like, you know, all the white supremacists are the good people, and, you know, they just don't understand the things that they have done, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it was horrible. The film was horrible. I mean, I laughed a few times where, you know, Cynthia Erivo, she's trying to communicate with her ancestors, to communicate with God, and it just came across laughable. I mean, she's trying to go like this and that. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what's going on? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. This whole film was a mockery of a true American hero, a true black American hero. When I first saw the film, I did not want to just jump on YouTube and make a review. I was very emotional about it and very upset, and I just wanted to calm down, you know, but I did throw up a paragraph on Facebook, and I said that there is more energy in a flaccid party balloon than there was in this entire film. I did not feel shit. I was yawning, ready to go. I mean, for a lot of the actors and actresses in this film, I honestly feel like this was the first performance they've ever done. And if so, what were you thinking as far as casting is concerned? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, imagine a scenario where you're going to an interview, and not only do you not have experience for the role for the position that you're applying for, you haven't even read the job description. And you going into that interview not knowing nothing. I mean, you're trying to be a civil engineer, astronaut, or just something difficult, paying $200K plus, just winging it. And the interviewer just thinking like, are you serious? Why did you show up? They're thinking in their head like, what the hell is wrong with the recruiter for thinking that this person is a good candidate? That's how I felt about the whole portrayal, all the acting in this film. This is by far one of the worst films I've seen in 2019, easily. I mean, if you're subscribed to my channel and you've been there for a few years, you know that every year I do 3 videos. I do the best of 2009, the best of the year, the favorite of the year, and the worst of the year. This is possibly going to be on the worst. I can't imagine how it wouldn't. Now, as far as my ratings for this film, I do have a rating. I'm going to save that for a little bit later. But, you know, that is just my opinion. Now, like I said at the very beginning of this review, I don't support Cynthia Erivo right now. She has made a ton of disrespectful dismissive comments towards Black Americans, yet you think you can come over here and take one of, I mean, how can you talk down on Black Americans, but then accept a Black American role, a true historical figure, and then complain that you're getting backlash? I mean, Google her tweets. She called Black Americans wild animals, and that we have a ghetto accent. Ghetto American accent. Baby, you know I got you. I'ma sing it to you, but I still gotta do what I gotta do. You feel me? And I'm supposed to support you, and you talking shit like that? No, it don't work like that. And then a few days before the release, you want to make some comments saying that people took this out of context. No, it don't work like that, sister. You wrong for that, and you need to fix it. You are wrong for that. And just Google the tweets. And I have no problem. I mean, no, it just really upsets me that back in the civil rights era, my parents, grandparents, and ancestors, they fought, for Black immigrants to come over here. I mean, because, we just loving and forgiving, but a lot of the Black immigrants that come over here, and I'm not talking about them all, because I know in Dallas, I know some Black immigrants, non-ADOS, that are very loving and respectful. They know the history and they know the data, and they are really fighting for true justice. They're really trying to replace this system of white supremacy with a system of justice. And what is my definition of justice, just so you know, is balance between people, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated, and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help in all 9 areas of human activity. And these individuals, they fight harder than even ADOS people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not just finna crap on all Black immigrants, but a lot of them do come over here, and I've had a ton of conversations with them. Like, I just don't understand y'all. Why don't y'all take advantage of the American dream? You have this opportunity and that opportunity. I'm doing this over here. I'm doing that over there. All you got to do is start a business. Why can't y'all get your information together? And that shit is annoying, and I'm tired of it. Now, I do remember one Nigerian, we was having the same conversation, and she was very respectful. And she was like, I do have those thoughts and those sentiments, but I will acknowledge, Brandon, that I do not know y'all's story, and I don't know your history. And if you are one of those people, please pick up a book. Professor Mercer Baradaran, she wrote this right here, The Color of Money, Black Banks in the Racial Wealth Gap. I'm on chapter 6 right now. I stopped reading it because I got inspired one day to check out, Dr. Francis Quest Wilson and the ISIS papers. And my goodness gracious, this will open up your eyes. But read a book if you don't know. I mean, this right here is a great example. Ever since we was free after the Civil War, financially, every time we've tried to hold our own financially, and it's been thwarted by the white supremacists. But a lot of these Black immigrants don't know that. And they come over here talking crap. They just don't have the experience. They just don't have the lineage. They don't know the data, and they're talking crap, and I don't appreciate it. That's why you can't flatten Blackness. You can't flatten any culture. Stop saying, and while I don't support Cynthia Erivo because, her disrespectful comments, and she just not able to relate to the true distinct Black experience, Black American experience. I mean, it's obvious as it comes through in her role. I mean, no one will say that a white American is the same as a white Australian, is the same as a white European, is the same as a white Russian. No one will say that a brown person in Mexico is the same as a brown person in Peru or Brazil or Argentina or whatever. You're not going to say that. Or in India or Spain. You're not going to say all those brown people are the same. Or even the yellow Asian community. You're not going to say that a Chinese person is the same as a Japanese person, is the same as a Filipino person, is the same as someone from Vietnam or whatever. You're not going to say that. So don't say the same. Don't say it for Black people. Yes, all Black people are being oppressed. All Black and brown people are being oppressed around the world, but you can't just flatten Blackness. All of us have a distinct culture, a distinct justice claim. Now you have this brother Jelani Cobb, who is a journalism professor from Columbia University, and this is what he had to say about it.
narrowest strand of it. It's equivalent to saying, what plantation you claiming? We from this plantation, we don't respect y'all from over there. Our slavery is worse than what y'all got. Or like, look how thick my chain is. Or these shackles they got on me. They got the thin shackles on you. You doing better. And we wind up in a situation in which we desperately need every hand on deck.
Now, I don't know if he's just ignorant or he was just doing it on purpose, but in my humble opinion, he does not know what he's talking about. All we are doing over here is ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, is stating that we have a specific justice claim that we're going after. We have a specific situation for a specific group of people and a specific claim. Yes, blacks around the world are being oppressed, and we can all relate there, but I am not going to sit here and pretend like I can relate to all of my Haitian brothers and sisters and how they fought for their freedom in 1804. Yes, we are all black and we can relate there, but those Haitian brothers and sisters have a true spiritual, cultural connection to their ancestors that I cannot relate to, no matter how good of an actor or an actress anyone else is. Haitians will always be able to do that much better, just like a black American will be able to do a role much better than anybody else. 1804, the hidden history of Haiti. True American heroes. I mean, you know, I would never be able to relate to and connect like a Haitian brother and sister would to Dudley Bookman or to Saint Louverture or Jean-Jacques Dessalines. I mean, I know the story and I can do research, but I mean, my goodness gracious, my Haitian brothers and sisters hold those heroes to them very dearly to their heart. It is very important to them. You know, it is in their spirit. It is in their blood, their fibers, their bones. And only them can portray those roles the best. I'm pretty sure a black American actor could do a good job, but not better than them. And I will never take that away from my Haitian brothers and sisters. That's for them. If a Hollywood producer came to me and like, hey, B. Avery, we you know, you got the Oscar last year. We think you're great. You know, we're doing the film on this right here, the 1804 hidden history of Haiti or the revolution, whatever. You know, we want to offer you this. I would be like, you know, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But, you know, this role is not for me. You need to find somebody from Haiti to be able to do that. You know, I'll pass. And all we want is the same respect. I mean, we don't have no wealth in this country, black Americans, even though we built the richest country in the world. We only own 2.6% of the nation's wealth. And that's, you know, I mean, if you take away the family car, our net worth is $4,000. And if you take away depreciating assets, that drops down to $1,700. And by the year 2053, the Federal Reserve said that's going to drop down to zero. That's all we got. And then we still can't even play. We still can't even play ourselves in these movies and these films. And I'm not blaming the actors or the actresses. I'm not gonna create any division there. I'm going to be honest, but it's the studios that are doing this on purpose, and I blame them for that. You know, you got people over here blaming people at the border like they're still in their jobs. Really? It's the corporation's genius. But, I mean, you know, that's just how I feel about that and the casting of non-ADOS and ADOS roles. I'm not cool with it. But last but not least, guys, and just real quick, when the brother trying to say we are the same, are we really the same? Look at the data. Look at the data. Are we still the same? Looking at the data, are we still the same? Looking at the data, I mean, everybody else looks out for their specific group, so don't get mad at me if I want to look out for my specific group. I don't want to hear it. But let's just look at the pattern here of what I'm talking about. You know, Daniel Kaluuya, he's British. He played a black American role in Get Out. Daniel Kaluuya is coming out with a film later on this month, Queen and Slim, black American role, but it's not being played by ADOS, a black American. They also have him about to play Fred Hampton, a Black Panther. I mean, why is this brother taking all of our roles? But let's keep going. You got David Oyelowo. He's not a black American. He played Martin Luther King and Selma. Cynthia Erivo and Harriet, which we're talking about right now. Then they're talking about Cynthia Erivo is going to be playing Aretha Franklin. All these black American roles that are not going to black Americans, not going to ADOS. Now, we also have 12 Years a Slave. I thought that film was fantastic, but that was done by a bunch of Brits. It wasn't done by Black Americans. Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and Us, a film that came out earlier this year. That's fiction, but at the same time, Black American family, not played by Black Americans, ADOS. And then we have Uzo Aduba, Crazy Eyes and The Orange is the New Black. She's filming right now a role for Sherry Chisholm. Black American role not being played by a Black American. Now, if this happened every once in a while, that would be one thing. But why does it keep happening over and over and over again? I mean, I just want to be able to play myself. That's all. But we're not able to do that. But last but not least, the most important part of, and Samuel Jackson talked about it, and Daniel, not Daniel, but John Boyega, complained, saying that his comments were stupid. No, when Samuel Jackson made that tweet saying that British actors are taking the place of Black Americans, at first I didn't comprehend it. I was like, whoa, man, what you doing? But I see the pattern now, and I agree with the brother. So, I mean, there's that. But the most important thing of all about this whole film right here is that, it's being produced by Focus Features. The company that owns Focus Features is NBC Universal, and the parent company of over NBC Universal and Focus Features is Comcast. Right now, there is a case pending in the Supreme Court less than 2 weeks on November 13th. Comcast is attacking the 1866 Civil Rights Act versus Byron Allen as well. Byron Allen, if not, he either is the richest Black billionaire in the country, or the richest. He sued Comcast for $20 billion and Charter for $10 billion and won because of their racist discriminatory practices and not wanting to include this brother in our economic survival. He's going after economic inclusion, and they're locking us out like they always do. I don't want to hear no pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. I mean, this brother right here is a billionaire, and they're stopping us on all fronts. So he sued and won. Then the case went over to the Ninth Circuit of Appeals, and he won again. And now Comcast is like, we're going to take this to the Supreme Court, but not only are we going to be attacking you, we're going to be attacking the 1866 Civil Rights Act, which was the first act put on the books to say that you cannot exclude anyone based off race, which came right after the Civil War. And they're attacking the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Let me just go ahead and read that to you. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, enacted April 9th, 1866, was the first United States federal law to define citizenship and affirm that all citizens are equally protected by law. It was mainly intended in the wake of the American Civil War to protect the civil rights of persons of African descent born in or brought to the United States. And this right here is what Comcast is trying to attack. Now, what makes this even worse is that this article right here is from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and our current unfortunate president, Donald Trump bashes Comcast and then joins the media giant to limit civil rights suits, law professor says. Now, there's a link for this full article in the description box. I strongly suggest you read it. But there is one part I want to read to you right here. A favorable Comcast decision could make it harder for anyone to bring civil rights cases, several legal experts warned. A Comcast win could also cascade into everyday American lives, changing how race could affect lawsuits involving rents, jobs, and education. So if Comcast wins, this will literally set us back to 1865, 1866. And we're already living in hell right now, and it would be super hell, I guess. I mean, it would be legal to discriminate to someone based off race. I mean, someone could, hey, you're fired because you're black, and we couldn't do anything about it legally. And so why would I support this film? When this is a Focus Feature, NBC, Universal, Comcast film, why would I support it? That's very important. Also right now, there is the New Jersey NAACP chapter canceled their screening of Harriet, citing Comcast challenges to civil rights, their challenges to the Civil Rights Act. There's a link to that below as well. Also, I just want to give credit to attorney Antonio Moore He is one of the people that I learned all this information for a while back. If you want to go to his YouTube channel, you can. It's Tone Talks, one word, TONETALKS. He is the co-founder of the term ADOS. Even though ADOS is not a group, it is not a club, it is not an organization that you can join or quit. Either you are or you aren't. So I'm just controlling the narrative and trying to shut that down. But yeah, he is the co-founder of the term. But that's kind of like arguing with someone if, like, you know, they're Mexican or not. I mean, you either are or you aren't. You know, like, you either are a boy or you are a girl. You're either a boy or you're not a boy, or you know, you're a man or you're not a man. There's no debate there. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, while I do support Tone, and I love his words when he says that, you know, anyone that's at the head of the reparations conversation should be lawyers, historians, and economists. I'll go ahead and say that they have a very, very strong economic base, and the team that they have working on everything, I do agree there. Not everything as far as history, but that's fine. You're not going to agree with everybody. That's not the goal, and that's not realistic. You know, you deal with people on the stuff that you do agree with. You leave this stuff alone. That's part of being on code. It's not agreeing on every point, but still moving together, you know, in support for your main goal, your agenda, which in my opinion is, you know, for us to live in a system of true justice and not racism, white supremacy. So I support the brother. You know, there's links down in the description box below. Also, right now, there is an interview on The Breakfast Club. It has over 500,000 views of Byron Allen, the American businessman / comedian that owns the Weather Channel 100%. Please check out that full interview. It is over an hour long, but it is worth it. Check out all the links that I have down in the description box. I'm going to have a word that says learn with a colon after it. Just check out all the links. That's your homework assignment for the next year. If you are still out there, guys, with your head in the sand thinking that white people are going to come save you, don't come to me 20, 30 years from now crying when you're mad that a lot of black people are locked up in cages. Do your due diligence. Start serving your community. If you don't know how, find the people on a national, state, and local level that are already doing the work and just help them out. Help them out. Just help them out. Find a way you can help them. Find the people that know what they're talking about and listen to them. Okay? Even if you don't agree on every point, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't want this video to be any more long-winded than it is. You know, I don't support Comcast, Universal, or, you know, Focus Features. You know, Cynthia Erivo, you need to fix your comments and stop being disrespectful to black Americans. And I feel that this film is just absolutely atrocious. If I had to rate Harriet out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this film a bullshit out of 10. Yes, a bullshit out of 10. But guys, that is just my opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. You know, all films are subjective, but you know, hey, it is what it is. If you like the video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Help me reach 11,000 subscribers. Help me reach 20,000 subscribers. I'm still very small. And guys, you can also look me up on social media. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning in to my opinion / review for Harriet. And before you go, don't forget, my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.